So all this drama between Charleston White and Boosie and T.I. could have been completely avoided. I mean, they went openly, publicly with all this. Charleston White started on, Tootie Raw and King on, Boosie and T.I.'s sons because they were defending their pops. And at the end of the day, Charleston White's starting to dig deeper and deeper on this one, and he's starting to, it's a big old thing. He's calling out Boosie, he's calling out T.I. The fact that the kids are, putting some hard words out there, some harsh things, and Charleston White is, as we know, who he likes to call, and we know that at the end of the day, no one's looking for problems. However, he stays in the smoke. He stays in it all. He doesn't want the smoke, but yet he continues to stay in it. And so, he's calling out them as fathers, saying that, they didn't direct the boys in the right direction. And now he's, making the calls to try to make sure that these boys are in some Scared Straight program. But to be honest, I mean, if that was the case, that should have happened years ago and this whole thing could have been avoided. He's trying to call out the fact that T.I. had some old charges, which we know that he didn't, completely do all the time for, whatever, but he is in some program now to try to help encourage the youth and to guide the youth in the better direction. I mean, these kids have had a better advantage than most kids growing up. And so they're speaking on whatever and however they want, but at the same time, the same thing, they're speaking on this grown man's, situation. So at the end of the day, time will tell what's going to happen. So the deal is Charleston White is just getting things, digging a hole deeper and deeper for himself. He started initially with Boosie and T.I., and then it went on to the son, Tootie Raw and King. And real talk, when it comes down to it, okay, Charleston White is 52. I think T.I. might be 41, and Boosie actually is gonna be 40 in a couple of weeks, in November. And then you have King and Tootie Raw. King is only 18 and Tootie Raw is 19. And at the end of the day, they are throwing dirt back and forth, and they just keep growing this bigger and bigger and making this, something that it's they're bringing the parent, so, Charleston White is known that he is continuing to stay in the smoke and the drama, but yet will claim up and down that he wants nothing to do with it, doesn't want any problems, whatever, and continues to call back up if he actually is in situations, he calls back up if he needs it, I guess you could say. And everybody's different when it comes down to that. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be picking these fights and picking these situations with people and just looking to call, eventually it's going to catch up to you. I mean, you think at one point, he'd be screaming that he's got the pepper spray, which is good and all, but that's not going to completely protect you. And there's only so many people that'll be around when you call, Really, I think the bigger issue would have probably not been to get into their drama that they got going on. And if you didn't want the kids to try to clap back at you, I mean, realistically, you probably shouldn't have called them out either. Because we know at that age, they're young boys, they're definitely going to be clapping back and make sure that they get their last words out for sure. Charleston White was saying a whole lot about the situation and continuing to provoke the boys going on. I mean, if at some point he wants it to stop, he obviously is going to just need to cut it. Or address it further. Pull up on each other. Meet up. You know? Like, what's that thing back in the day to be like on site? You know what I'm saying? Address the issue and fix it. Or just, it is what it is. It's just going to continue to grow and to be a bigger issue. I mean, do you think that Boosie, Son, Tootie Raw, and King should have said anything and got involved? Do you think that at this point, you know, T.I. looks like he's making sure he's protected? We all know that Boosie's always stays protected. Boosie's got one of the best attorneys in the whole country. He actually has worked for many people that we can't even discuss right now. But, you know, a lot of people in the industry and people that are not in the industry but have a need for an attorney. And Boosie has one of the best ones. So we'll see what happens, and I'm sure we'll find out new information as everything continues to go on. But this is definitely a fire and a flame that's going to continue to grow. So latest drama with all this stuff that's going on with Charleston White and King and Tootie Raw. I mean, he's calling these boys out, and these boys are calling him out. And there's a lot of threats that are being made back and forth. I don't know if you know, Charleston White actually is 52 years old. And these young men, King is 18 and Tootie Raw is actually 19. And so, you know, there's a level of people are saying there's a level of respect that's being crossed. Like they shouldn't have, King and Tootie shouldn't have, you know, gotten involved in this in you know, Boosie and T.I.'s business, and they should have just kind of let it be. But they got involved, and then calling Charleston White out, and then, you know, from word on the street is that Charleston White's looking for trouble too, though. You know what I mean? He's finding out where these boys be hanging and where they're at, and kind of, you know, keeping his eye out looking for them. And at the end of the day, you know, he might just be looking for trouble. Like, it just, you know, there's certain lines that are being crossed right now, and, you know, at the end of the day, you don't mess with people's kids. Like, you know, that's not something that he needed to personally attack himself, like to personally take into his own hands to attack himself, because we know that, you know, if you're a parent, you have kids, or, you know, little ones or youngins that you care about, oftentimes parents will do anything for their kids, and sometimes your kids are wrong. And even if they're wrong, sometimes in a parent or a guardian's eyes, they still are always right. And, you know, at the end of the day, he's fighting with fire, because it's Charleston White versus them. And, you know, there's a lot more of them than there are him. You know what I'm saying? So I want to know if you think Tootie Raw and King should have even got involved, or if you feel like it's cool that they got involved because it's their dad's, you know, it's their dad's thing, and they're defending their pops, whatever. And then once Charleston White calls them out, then it's like they're gonna say whatever. I mean, it's a different generation. You're dealing with different generations of ages and people. And, you know, Charleston White's looking to their parents to, like, correct their own kids, when at the same time he's just as involved. He's still calling the kids out and then also calling the parents out and expecting the parents to do something too. So, I don't know. It's pretty crazy, the whole situation. There was a video, too, you probably saw it on here on the channel, showing them burning the Yeezys because of the whole situation with Kanye as well, which Charleston White is also defending, you know, Kanye over this whole situation with Boosie as well. That's a whole nother thing, too, you know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going on and said, and it's like a lot of energy put in to something when at the end of the day, it's like they're all just continuing to throw fuel on the fire instead of actually addressing it. So, time will tell what's going to happen. We all know Charleston White. We know who he likes to call, and we know what he's about. And so he's made it quite clear that he is fully prepared to do stand your ground. He's referred to the whole situation with Trayvon Martin, and it's not even something that I feel like it's something for him to even refer to as like any sort of a like joke about the situation either. It's just not, I don't know, it's just crazy that the whole thing is blown up this big. But at the end of the day, you know how everyone is. Everyone's right and wants the last word. So we're going to continue to follow this and watch the fuel continue to get thrown on this fire. And King speaking out about it all, initially defending their parents, and then it turning into, or father rather, and then turning into something completely different altogether. And, as far
beginning of what I did, but it's not all that I do. This shit cannot be fabricated for 20-some years, bro.
Like, you never know what's going to happen. Charleston White already pepper sprayed Soulja Boy at Rolling Loud. And so if he pepper sprays T.I. all in the same year, that would be one of the craziest runs of trolling that we've ever seen. And basically, that would make it to where that's going to put Charleston White even more up in the clout and just getting attention to him. And he's just going to have more and more people looking at him and stuff. But I think that he might have ran into the wrong one. Like, well, first of all, T.I. is not like Soulja Boy. And so what you got to understand is that it's going to be a whole different kind of outcome. You might see Charleston White being the one who's crying and da-da-da going down. He's going to have to actually call some people for real if it actually catches up and he goes toe-to-toe with T.I. Like, who would you guys put your money on, man? Like, comment down below and let me know exactly what you think would happen if T.I. and Charleston White actually came face-to-face while they were at the height of their beef. And what's going on right now is that it's really heating up. And so you got to understand that these are grown men. And so, but the thing is that T.I. is really like acting like this because he's trying to defend his son. Like, he doesn't want anything to happen with the pepper spray to his son, or if he gets tased or anything like that. And so he'll rather have Charleston White step up to him and not have to have this thing where if anything does happen, then the whole internet is going to be talking about how T.I. should have defended his son from the beginning, or that da-da-da, or he added to the beef and made it to where somebody got hurt. You don't want to play around, man, and have anything like that happen. And so, one thing could lead to another, but Charleston White and T.I. and beef is like an actual thing now. And so we would have never thought that at the beginning. A lot of people didn't expect that all these little things will happen with Charleston White and these celebrities and all of these rappers and stuff like that. But at this point, he's calling out everybody. And T.I., man, he got angry. It rubbed him the wrong way. And he think that it went too far for him to be speaking on his son's name like that. And so he's saying, stop with the dissing, stop with the game, stop with all of that. He's not with it, and that he'll actually see him in person in real life. And so that's why everything is going to the level that it's going right now. So T.I. goes on IG and goes off on Charleston White, wants to fight him because Charleston White basically dissed his son. And he was telling Charleston White, T.I. spoke out and said, you need to pick on somebody your own size. You need to pick on somebody your own age. He was talking about, like, who disses people, like youngins these days like that? Why are you a 40, almost 50-year-old man? And he's dissing like kids. I think T.I.'s son is like 19 or something like that. And so, and you know how T.I. is, man. He used to be called the King of the South, and he used to have them blickies on him. And so he was telling him that he needs to come and check in with him and needs to run whatever beef he's got going on with T.I. directly, instead of going on and dissing his son and stuff. And you know how Charleston White is. He always dissing everybody. He's always rubbing everyone the wrong way and going against the grain, man. And so basically what T.I. wants to do is he wants to challenge a boxing match or something. He wants to do a meetup in the parking lot or something with Charleston White because he's sick and tired of all this bickering and backering and back and forth, and he doesn't have time to sit here and have his son be picked on or anything like that by anybody, man. And so like T.I. is the type of person where he thinks Charleston White is like bullying his son. And so what are you gonna do? Like I bet a lot of you guys have kids out there. So what would you do if Charleston White or somebody like that was bullying your kid? And so like that's exactly the type of fire and the heat that
like, hold on.
Yeah.
Don't be talking about our son like that and
Right.
what they do.
Right. T.I. said, you said, pull up on me. He said, come out here. We'll see. You if you want to leave, you'll be the winner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He said, just pull up.
Yeah,
Pull
he
up.
said you shouldn't have never went at his kids. But
Right,
at the same time, his kids was out of line.
The kids were completely out of
Why
line
would they
too.
even jumping grown folks' business?
I
At
mean-
the end of the day, we all know for a fact if you raise that, people sit there and look at you for being the person who talk out. They gonna tell you, man, keep your son in line, man.
Yep. And that's the thing. They be talking a whole lot of stuff. Once you put it out there, you put it out there. And, you definitely do need to know where to draw the line because the kids are wrong. But, as a parent, it's like, you gotta shut it down, like, at some point. You just can't be talking reckless like that.
And T.I. only drove over there because he knew. T.I. know for a fact that he'd get out on Charleston White.
Uh-huh.
T.I. got too many security and too many people that's gonna stand around and make sure don't nobody run up on him while he instantly getting down on Charleston White. And as you can see,
This, Tootie and King are standing up for their dads against the situation with Charleston White, calling out Charleston White, taking it to a whole nother level with him, as far as he being an older gentleman, and they're getting involved in business of their fathers. That at the end of the day, the fathers, Boosie is in no way, shape, or form do I think that he cannot defend himself. Of course he can. It's Boosie, you know what I mean? His son Tootie didn't really need to step in and stuff. And it's like, there's a lot that was said and a lot that was done. And at the end of the day, there's a whole lot of threats that are being made back and forth between all of them involved. And it's just turning into something really big. I mean, Charleston White is saying basically that T.I. and Boosie need to take control of the situation with their sons and get them like straightened up. Now, at this point, because the boys have made threats to Charleston White's trying to get the PD involved because he wants the boys to get in some sort of program, I guess, to get like straight or whatever. And right now, Charleston White's trying to call out T.I. and be like, you did some time for the pieces that you had, so
I just want to let a lot of people know that when you make sudden moves and do sudden things, like, y'all don't pay attention to what y'all do, man. Y'all sit back and run y'all mouth, go straight to the internet, do all this, and don't be able to back it up. So at the end of the day, we know for a fact that all the people who sitting back on the coattail, who trying to ride the wave, like, they sitting back looking at this like as if it's a stunt or something. No, it's not a stunt. It is what it is. Y'all read the title. Y'all saw the thumbnail, man. Like, real talk, man. People just sit back and look at them as if they playing games with each other. No, he should have never said that about his son. So at the end of the day, we know for a fact that anything is liable to happen and anything is bound to happen when this type of stuff going on. So